Well, let's break down the satellite imagery of the Iranian nuclear sites, as you see here on the big screen, and military sites seized by Israel, and why these specific locations matter in the unfolding West Asia crisis. We begin with the Natanz nuclear facility. Will just be up on the screens. Take it away, Vishal.
So what you see on the screen, as Arjun mentioned, is the Natanz facility. This is one of the most key facilities that Iran has in its possession. On top of the screens, you can see the facility that was damaged. It's on the outer ring of the whole facility. As Arjun was mentioning, a lot of these centrifuges have been damaged. The facility itself remains, but you can see the extent of the damage.
Well, Natanz is Iran's crown jewel, viewers, for uranium enrichment. Over 50,000 centrifuges are operated right out of this facility, and some are even underground, purportedly in two of its silos. And it's often even called the heart of Iran's ballistic missile ambitions. Moving on, we have Isfahan facility next on your screens.
Well, the images tell the story here. On left of the screen is the facility, Isfahan facility, that was not damaged. And on the right, towards the bottom of the screen, you can see on the outer edges, it's been totally demolished. So this is also one of the key facilities of Iran's nuclear program. But the facility largely remains, but there have been significant damages. Totally 4 structures were damaged. Here on the screens, we have some Maxar images that display damages to 2 of the sites there.
Now, Isfahan, why is Isfahan important? Well, it's home to Iran's largest nuclear research hub. It was set up way back in 1984 with Chinese assistance. That's right, Beijing actually covered the bill or footed the bill for the Isfahan facility. It sits inside the University of Isfahan and employs nearly 3,000 scientists. Meanwhile, 4 critical buildings were in fact hit at this very nuclear site. Moving on.
Now we have the Fordow site. Now we've been talking about this for a while now. This is one of the most secretive sites in the history of Iran. You can see it's an impenetrable site that Iran has been talking about. You can see just one building on top, and underground this whole structure, underground this area of mountains, there is a structure having that impenetrable Fordow structure.
As Vishal mentioned, it's Iran's most secretive nuclear facility, viewers, hidden beneath a mountain. And the talk of the US bunker buster bomb is been happening in relation to this very nuclear establishment that Iran has at the base of a mountain, purportedly. Now, it houses over 1,000 centrifuges. Now, these include the IR-6 machines, which are in fact capable of enriching uranium to 60% purity, as stated by the IAEA in 2023. Meanwhile, it's 160 kilometers away from Tehran, buried hundreds of feet below a mountain. This site was in fact designed to resist airstrikes, and none of Israel's modern weapons can still penetrate this facility. Next up, we have the Piranshahr nuclear facility for you.
Yeah, on the left, you can see the images that were taken before the damage was done. And on the right, you can see the whole structure, the whole installation has been totally demolished. Probably some F-35 aircraft of the Israeli Air Force was involved in this operation, and the extent of the damage tells the story.
Now, this military installation is very key to Iran's western defenses, as it's near the Iraq border. It also is the first line of virtually defense when it comes to any sort of retaliation, Vishal, from the Western Front, in this case currently it being Israel. Moving on to the next site we have for you, viewers, the IRGC Ghadar site in Tehran.
So as Arjun mentioned, this is the IRGC's Ghadar site. IRGC is Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. This is one of the most elite groups that Iran has, and this was one of the facilities that were struck by the Israeli forces. On top of the screen, we have the image encircled there. The whole roof has been removed. Whole roof has been demolished. In this strike as well, some F-35 jet was used.
Now, this is a key radar site used, in fact, to detect and respond to aerial threats. It's also a part of Iran's early warning defense grid and is pivotal to Western defenses, especially against Israel in these escalations that we have been noticing in the larger area. Moving focus to the Tabriz missile facility now.
Here also you have two images, one saying the story before the sites were struck and one after. And on the bottom of the screens, you can see three sites that have been totally demolished. On the right as well, we have one site that has been encircled for the viewers. You can see the extent of the damage. If you compare with the picture on the top, the site was totally undamaged. On the bottom, it's been almost wiped out.
Now, this one's the big deal, actually, Vishal. Located in northwestern Iran, viewers, Tabriz supports long-range missile capabilities of Iran. Now, evidence also suggests it purportedly houses the Shahab 1, 2, and 3 launchers here. And given its range, parts of Eastern and Central Europe could also potentially very well be within striking range, as Tehran has time and again, Vishal, claimed. Moving on to the Mashhad airfield now.
So in this particular Mashhad airfield, this is also one of the key airfields that Iran has. On the left, you have the airstrip that was totally undamaged. On the right, the same aircraft was pictured. Only its tail is mentioned there. Only its tail is visible because the rest of the aircraft has been wiped out through a series of strikes. The whole strip has almost been rendered useless through a series of strikes.
This has been a very important target for the Israeli Air Forces, as it's Iran's second busiest airport and also a critical asset, viewers, for its Air Force. Now, the Mashhad airbase, it supports long-range missions extending operational reach across the region. And more importantly, the strike might very well be one of Israel's farthest ever, 23 kilometers away to be precise, and it also draws parallel, in fact, to Israel's 1985 strike on the PLO in Tunis. Now, moving on to the Dezful airbase.
Dezful is also one of the key areas that Israel has targeted through a series of strikes over the last 6 to 7 days. You have these unmanned aerial vehicles, otherwise known as drones, that was totally demolished, and you have some support aircraft that Iranian regime has deployed. They were not able to protect these UAVs. So as a result, almost all the UAVs on this site were demolished.
Now, this site again is near the Iraqi border on the western front of Iran. You see these aircrafts being circled and these missile launchers. They are positioned there as they are the first line of defense Iran has against any aggression from its western front. They also guard and protect Iran's key oil infrastructure, viewers. Not only this particular site, it also hosts the 4th Tactical Air Base with the Shahed 136 drones and F-5 fighters on alert, as you see right there. It's a vital node, in fact, of Iran's air defense. Now on to the Kermanshah missile facility, which Vishal will take you through.
So Kermanshah is also one of the key missile facilities in Iran. It has also been hit by strikes. On the left, you have a Maxar image showing an image of the site that was there before the site was struck by IAF aircraft. On the right, you see heavy damage done to the outer ring of the whole installation. And also towards the bottom, you have a building that has been reduced to a rubble.
Now, Kermanshah, viewers, is one of Iran's oldest missile bases. In fact, it dates back to all the way back to the Iran-Iraq war. It's still active today, however, as a ballistic missile launcher hub. Next up, we have for you the Shiraz missile facility.
So this set of images tell the story very clearly. On the left, there is no damage. You can see nothing there except the installation, the original installation. On the right, you can see the fire burning. This image was captured while the fire was burning. You don't see the damage to that extent, but because it's been engulfed by the smoke from the fire, but there have been reports that suggest heavy damage was done to this site.
Now, this facility plays a central role or a pivotal role in producing missile fuel and key components, including for the Shahab 1 system. Viewers, at first glance, if you look here, this may look like Israel, inching closer to its strategic goal.
But analysts have been repeatedly warning that Iran's nuclear facilities can bounce back, possibly within a matter of months.
And even more concerning, Vishal, is that these strikes may just push Tehran to, in fact, double down on its nuclear ambitions.